Welcome. It is Saturday, May 15th, and you're here at Viva Virtuoso for our weekly live podcast. We're up to podcast number 11. So, for all of you that have been watching and listening and giving us feedback, we appreciate it and we ask for more of that. I hope you're all having a good day and you all have your ears and eyes open because we have a wonderful musician that does more than just music, but within the domain of music does quite a bit herself. And her name is Siuzanna Iglidan, and I want to welcome you, Suizanna, to Viva Virtuoso.
Thank you so much. Hello, everyone who's watching. Thank you, Warren, for invitation. Thank you, Nikki. I'm very happy and honorable to be here today with you.
As we are honored to have you. So, Suizanna, you started music as a youth, and
I started when I was 4 years old, little, very little.
And how did you get into it? How did it work for you?
How did it work? I think I had no choice. My family said, "This is piano, and you have to learn to play piano." I think it's common for my culture because I'm from Ukraine, and a lot of kids doing art, music, and sport on the same level as just regular education. So I had no choice. Nobody asked me if I want to play piano. I had to learn.
And did it come naturally to you?
Oh, no. I was so happy at age of 6 when I broke that piano. Just the deck just got broken. And that will be the end of the lessons. But my mom came up with a new idea. She bought me a new one. So I had to learn. Yeah, it was not naturally. I had a lot of teachers who gave up on me, saying that I have no talent. And to be honest, of course, I had no talent. I was not interested because, taking lessons, you have to practice at home. Who likes at the age of 4 or 6 practice at home? I don't know so many kids. I was one normal, regular kid who did ballet, gymnastic, and a little bit of music. So I was not really paying attention to that. Yeah, I was at age of around, I think, 10 when 6 teachers said no to me. I was a little bit kind of feeling down because what's wrong with me when teachers don't want to teach you? They say you have no talent.
Well, how did you overcome that? There must have been a 7th teacher out there who helped you.
Yeah, there was a 7th teacher who really helped me. And I'm very grateful to her. I think she was the most strict teacher I ever had in my life. She was very rude to me, sometimes too strict to me. But, she encouraged me to find that inner energy to say myself, what? If other can do what I cannot do it? So I will be very happy one day to meet her and thank her for that motivation. And also my family, like my mom, who was always asking her when Suizanna will be a good musician, a good pianist. And she was sometimes even saying, "What's wrong with you, ma'am? She has no talent, But it came with a hard work, very hard work.
And an unwillingness to take no for an answer.
Yeah.
So at what point did you feel like you were kind of turning the corner and said, I can play this instrument kind of?
I think it came later, not even at the age of 10. At age of 10, I started writing my first music. I also had, I met one day an old teacher. He worked in the music school. He said, "Why don't you try to compose music?" So we started trying. I like to try new things. I think that helps a lot in my life adventure. So that helped me to develop one of my talents. I had the talent, and I started competing with the young composers that time. At age of 12, I started learning playing bandura, which is traditional Ukrainian harp. I started playing violin and other instruments. So there was a curiosity. I cannot say that I was somehow see myself to be a pianist or bandura player, but I started become better and better, and I started enjoying what I was doing and winning competitions and accepted a music college, the music academy. So the way it started growing, the talent. I think I had a talent, but some teachers didn't see the talent in me.
And so through the time, I guess what we would call here high school, the years, through your teen years, you had taken on composition, piano, bandura. Did I get it right? There was also dance in there?
No, I already quit. Yeah, by teenager,
Oh, okay.
I quit ballet. I still love ballet. That's true. I quit ballet. But at age of 15, I knew for sure that I want to be a musician, like a concert level musician.
So for a musician in Ukraine, how does it work? Do you pick a major and a school? Or?
Yes. So you graduate middle school, and then instead of going to high school, you choose, if you really want to focus on something, you choose a college, which based on that, on the degree you are trying to get. So I choose a music college.
Okay, and was that a competitive environment?
Oh yeah. I have someone who's curious in this interview today.
Oh,
Yeah. Hi.
hello.
I thought
We
you're
love
sleeping.
this is a very pet friendly show.
Yeah.
Time to go back to bed.
So yeah, I chose music college to continue my degree, and I chose bandura and I chose piano at that time. And since being a bandura player, it's kind of tradition. Yeah, that's what it shows in the picture. It's tradition to sing and play at the same time. But I couldn't sing. I had some vocal cords problems, so I could not sing. So because I had to say no to singing in a college, I chose conducting.
Okay, so let me understand your. Okay, so when you were in high school years, you focused on bandura and piano, but then in college, you chose conducting as a major.
As an extra major, because it was required,
Okay.
or singing or composing. But composing was already with me. I was continuing writing my music. I chose to be a orchestra conductor.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah.
And did you get plenty of opportunities to rehearse orchestras?
Yes, I conducted for 10 years orchestras. I was writing music, rearranging from different instruments, like folk instruments, from piano to orchestra. It was a great experience. I would never say that because at that time I didn't have my voice discovered yet. I think I got a great education. I have a major in conducting, so it helps me now staying with the conductors next to the orchestra, that I know how conductors conduct. I can see them. I am conductor too.
Sure. And all those pernicious clefs you have to learn now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's definitely a tough skill to acquire, and then to get the respect of the orchestra and have them trust in you as a leader.
Yeah, to be a conductor, I think after I graduate music academy, I got invitation to audition for the Operatic house as a young conductor, because they were looking for a conductor assistant, and someone offered me. I told them no, because I think to be a conductor, you have to be very strong you have to be a strong person, have a strong personality. It's just like to be a woman, kind of like being a man at the same time, making a decision. But it was a great experience for me, conducting even the student level. My friends, yeah, I was conducting my friends. I think even more difficult because it's your friends, and to have a respect from them, that they follow you, they listen your advice. When you stop orchestra, I say it's very difficult because it's 80 people and you stop them for a second, you have to know why you're stopping them. It's like a big machine, you know, engine, working engine. You stop at the second. And if you don't know what you're saying, you know, you're disrespectful. No, you have to be very smart. A conductor, I have a highly respect to conductors. That's high educated people. If they make to the level to be a conductor.
So you're in college, you are playing the piano, bandura, also majoring in conducting. Yet on your biography and your YouTube videos, you're doing quite a bit of singing. And I haven't heard you really mention singing other than that you weren't singing. So tell me about the origin of that and maybe how you moved in that direction.
I know a lot of people who are dreaming to become an opera singers. I was opposite. I never dreamed to be an opera singer. Now I say that opera is for a very certain amount of audience. It's true. It's not easy art to understand. I was one of those people who said, I was not interested in opera, and I would never imagine myself to be on opera stage performing. As I said in the beginning, that from my childhood, I like to discover new things about myself, learn how I can improve, what else I can discover in myself. One day, one of my colleagues, I was already studying at Music Academy. I was at age 20 years old. 20 years old, I think for most singers, it's too late. He told me that one of his friends, colleagues, he was a singer in the Odessa State Opera House. So he was looking for some students to start teaching like his small class. I think he was at the age of 66 that time. So I met him. I decided to meet him and see maybe he will give me some advices how to lose that tightness in my vocal cords and my breast. And maybe I can just sing a little bit. So when I play bandura, I can sing also. I met that gentleman. I heard some good compliments about how beautiful opera will be for me, which I said, you know, I will be okay if I just can sing a few notes, and I will be okay not singing opera. He said, that's fine. Okay, so he scheduled a lesson for me. He scheduled one lesson, he scheduled another lesson. Then later we start meeting every day for a few hours. My first lessons, we start hiding away from all the singers in opera house, because this was my home school, opera house. We were taking lessons in ballet class somewhere underground, away from anyone. And if his colleagues could hear me, they were making fun, which a little bit hurt me, you know, like, because they were saying, give up on this girl, she has no voice. He was laughing nicely and continue his work. It took, I can say, yeah, 5 years. 5 years of hard work, discovering myself, sometimes crying, sometimes I would not be able even talk after. If now people listening my performances, you know, my voice, and say, oh, what stories you're making? It's a fairy tale. No, it's not fairy tale. I have a lot of recordings from my ballet performances. And as a kid, I had to sing and I have no voice to sing. It's more like poems, not, not singing. Yeah, hard work. And I think what motivation of this, that my teacher, he never gave up on me, never gave up on me, and he strongly believed in my success. And even when I was crying and saying, you know what, I don't have voice, I cannot sing, I cannot be opera singer, he said, no, you have. Keep singing, stop crying, you can. That's the best motivation and support. I wish everyone to have teachers like he was.
Yes, it sounds almost like a role reversal. In this case, it was a teacher that wouldn't take no.
Yeah. I'm very grateful. And I'm also grateful for another teacher in my life. Later, it was my first step on the opera stage. My first teacher, he gave me this confidence, you know, that I have a talent. That's important. To have a talent, then believe in yourself. Be not only strong inside of your soul, but also, you know, don't be ashamed if someone say that you cannot do it so good, maybe like other singers. One day, one of my friends invited me to visit Crimea. It's a beautiful island. It was that time in Ukraine. Now it's a part of Russia. It's close from my home city, Odessa, just maybe like a few hours. She said, why don't you spend a beautiful weekend and also meet Maestro Mauro Trombetta, who was that time artistic director of Arena di Verona and Rome National Opera House. I was like, okay, let me go. So I took my mom on a small weekend in Crimea. I knew that I'm not going to be chosen to sing opera because they were staging Baroque opera with Crimea Philharmonic that time, and they did a small audition. So I said, okay, as I was just a beginner in opera, I decided to go and see other singers, learn something new, to meet. He's very famous in Europe, and maybe I will discover something new. So I decided to go in Crimea, and that was my turn to sing. I was shaking like a little girl. It's a little bit different. When you play piano, you basically look on the keyboard. When you play harp, you're kind of away from audience. You're looking in the strings when you play. But when you sing, you look straight in the audience. It's different. It's very different. When you're conducting, you stay, nobody sees your face. Basically, audience just see your back. It also helps. It helps. But in singing, it doesn't help. You have to look at people who's sitting just in front of you. So my audition was interesting. I sang just the first verse. He stopped me. He came. He gave me a hug. I said, what a beautiful voice. I cannot believe why you don't sing opera. So that's how I had 10 days to memorize my first opera and be on the stage. It's all over the YouTube. I have these performances with Maestro Mauro Trombetta. It was a great experience. Then he started introducing me to many famous Russian and Europe singers. That was the first steps. And then I immigrated to United States.
So, okay. So now you're in the United States and you land where, and tell us a little bit about your situation on once you've arrived in the States.
I got invitation to study English because that time, beside my music career, I was also developing my PhD in education and psychology. So because I was teaching at university.
Of course.
So working on my dissertation, yeah, of course, exactly. I decided to go to United States for a few months to study English, and maybe publish some of my research topics here. And it was 2014. Many bad things happened that time. I cannot say it's still good, the situation in Ukraine. We probably see on the news. Russia and Ukraine cannot find a solution yet. But 2014, a few months after when I arrived to United States and I came to Denver, because here's my Ukrainian friends and also the school I was studying here in Colorado. A few things would happen in Ukraine, changed my decision to go back. In my home city, they burned the building, and two of my close friends, young journalists, were burned. I just took my ticket, threw it up, and said, I'm not going back home.
So, wow. So you've decided to stay,
I decided
and
to stay. Yes.
and that comes with how many? Who do you know in the United States at this point? You know,
And United
professionally,
States.
that's ready to set you up with gigs and all these things.
I didn't start performing in Colorado. I did my first concert with some of my Russian-speaking musicians. We did a benefit concert. It was a beautiful concert here. And a few months after, I spent here 6 months in Denver, and I thought it's not what I want because it was good for me because my English was very basic, and I need to learn English to be able to talk fluently, and I had to learn to understand. That's also important. But I decided at that time, I think 6 years ago, more than 7 years ago, Denver couldn't give me what I was looking for. And I had I saved $400. I packed my suitcase and I told my friend, my close friend, she's Ukrainian, I say, you know what? I'm going tomorrow to Los Angeles because I
Okay.
met their vocal teacher, and I thought I need a teacher. I need someone to help me, to be back in the singing. I flew, I auditioned in Los Angeles, and we kind of come up with idea to continue voice development. So without even thinking what and how my life will be in Los Angeles, I flew to Los Angeles. Did I know anyone beside the teacher? No. Even how to say, the teacher. I met her once. She was happy to have me as one of her students, but no, I didn't know anyone. So the first thing what I decided to do, I found Russian speaking church.
Okay.
And then I met some people who knew me a long time from Ukraine. That helped. And I offered them to conduct a choir, to play piano for congregation. So they were looking for a musician that would work great for them and also work great for me because Russian people helped me with some place to stay. They were helping me to find some jobs to do so I could afford paying for my lessons and continue my English language also because I was
Right.
still in the college for another 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
that was
so,
helpful.
yeah. Well, it's good that there was community that you could plug into as you were finding your way through Los Angeles, and it's a rather big city, isn't it?
Big city, big city. Yeah. The first year was the most difficult one. My friend was calling from Denver saying, maybe it's time to come back, time to come back. I say, no, I like to win. I don't like to lose. If I put a goal, it has to be no matter what, but I have to reach it. If I don't speak English, it's mean I will learn English. If I'm not a good singer, then I will become a better singer. So the first year was very difficult, but I'm very blessed because I had wonderful people around me. I start singing and share my talent with my community first. And then people start talking about me, and anywhere I was appearing, the events, different events, people already knew who is Suizanna, so that was helpful. And I'm glad that people, could talk about me. That helped a lot.
Uh, are any performances in particular stand out in your mind that first year or so as being really rewarding experiences, affirming?
Yes, yes. One day, one of the Ukrainian lady, she took me and she just was just like pushing me, like, take your harp, let's go, let's go. I say, where? It's okay, we will find where we're going. Like, going nowhere means. So we went to one church, I played bandura, I sang. We went to another church. It was like 7 events in a few hours. Unbelievable. She just decided to show me to the people, in Los Angeles. And at the last performance, it was Ukrainian Culture Center, and they had some events dedicated with the things revolution in Ukraine. So she pushed me on the stage. I would never do this like this, you know. Hello, this is me. Can I sing on the stage? No, I'm very shy. But she said, you know, this is Suizanna. She has to perform right now. So they, of course, saw the bandura. They couldn't say no because there are not too many bandura players. It's just not too many of them. A very rare instrument, I can say. So, of course, they let me to go on stage and perform. So this is how I was introduced to Ukrainian community in Los Angeles. I think a couple months after, one lady called me and said, hey, Suizanna, there's one producer in Hollywood looking tomorrow to sing one Hebrew song on Hebrew. And it was a few songs. Some songs I knew, some songs I didn't know. Like Hebrew, I don't really sing often. You know, it's not very common language, I would say, to sing like Chinese or Hebrew. So say they will pay you some money if you're willing to memorize the songs tonight, like just at night. But because I was looking for some extra money, you know, my first year was tough year. I said yes, of course. Some other people gave me evening gown. I had no evening gown. I have nothing. I had a dream to be on stage. I had a dream. I had no dress at that time, nothing. So that producer came, picked me up in Hollywood. So we went to Beverly Hills. It was a beautiful hotel, beautiful dress. I sang. They paid me 3 times more that we agreed on. And after that, on the way back home, he asked me if what is my status in this country? I said, I'm a student, you know, I'm a student, but I have a dream to sing on stage. It rewarded me. And a year after, I got a good job in Los Angeles, and I got my first contract with orchestra in Los Angeles and got my extraordinary visa, which opens me a lot of doors for performances.
Great. And were most of the performances now singing, playing the piano, bandura combination? What did you find yourself doing the most of?
I had some concerts I play as a bandura player, as a soloist, but I try to bring bandura in each opera concert. Actually, not just I try. Producers ask me if I can play something and sing maybe Baroque or romantic opera or some Ukrainian art songs or Russian songs. Yeah, so I'm happy to have my bandura with me on the stage, even if I'm doing opera concert.
And while we're talking about the bandura, because probably I'm sure some people know a little bit about the instrument, but maybe you could describe for our audience. We have the picture of it, but you know what some of the main challenges are, and technically what do you have to be able to do to be a
Yeah,
good professional bandura player?
it has some tricks. I will say that probably piano is easier to learn than bandura. Since bandura was my second instrument and I already had a good piano school that time at age 12 anyway, I was crying a lot because bandura has 59 strings and um, they are going like in and out, upper and inside, and to see the strings so close, they're tiny, you know. You hold this bandura, here's the strings. I have 12 strings here, which basically I play blind way. I never see which string I plug. It's just one string, like one bass here, but it's by intuition basically. Blind way. Here's difficult because behind the bandura I have 7 key changes. So while I'm playing, I have to change the keys. It's a sharps, flats at the same time, which is easier for me to play. I don't have to go inside of the strings to plug sharp or flats strings. But it's a little bit difficult. I think those who learning playing bandura, they know what I'm talking about right now. It has some difficulties, but it's not so difficult as long you learn and you can close your eyes and enjoy plugging this 59 strings, that it sounds enjoyable.
Now, does that require keeping your fingernails a certain way in order to
For
play?
beginners, the first few years, no. Kids starting learning playing bandura without wearing. They make it customized just special for your finger size, shape of your nail. I have a few sets of different
Okay.
nails. Basically, we play just only 4 fingers without pinky one, without the fifth finger. Yeah, because it's too short. You cannot kind of reach the string. Yeah. And when it's maybe second, third year of playing bandura, you start learning playing with nails. It's a little bit helpful because you don't have so much how you got bruisers on your on your
Right.
fingers. It is a little bit harmed when you plug the strings. It helps, and also make the sound brighter.
Okay. Okay. Now, does that if you're playing the piano and you're playing the bandura, I know for me, I keep my nails pretty short for piano. Do you have to keep that in mind when you're?
Yes, for bandura you have to have not long, because this nail's going under the nail, because you
Okay.
plug them under the nail, and your natural nail actually helps to keep that nail not sliding
Right.
off your
Okay.
finger. It has to be a little bit of nail, yeah. For pianists, yeah. If I go record my piano music in studio, I will cut completely my nails, so there's no
No
nail.
bandura, no bandura concerts for a little while. You might
Then,
have to
yeah,
read it to that.
for a week at least, no bandura. Yeah.
Yeah. So, so it sounds like we're to a point where you're getting professional performance work. Your name's kind of out there, and you could probably settle into uh, combination of studio work, live performing, all these things. But it sounds like you opted to do a little more than that.
Yeah, the first few years in Los Angeles, to build a name, to be recognized, it was difficult. Uh, I was rejected so many times on opera auditions. I started auditioning, and no, never. I was invited to sing in a choir, and then a lot of my friends now, that time, new people for me in Los Angeles, of course, they were coming and asking me, "What are you doing in a choir with such a big voice? What are you doing?" First of all, I didn't understand the stage director, English, also English. I was moving, the choir moves that direction, and I moved them with them, following them. And then also confidence. That time I had to work on my confidence and reach that level that I can audition for the big and main roles. It came with time.
And were you a just a natural mezzo, or did you experiment with other
Uh,
voices?
from the beginning, when I met my first teacher, he said, "You're a mezzo." Italian teacher was saying, "I am a mezzo." I had a Greek teacher. She was saying, "I am a mezzo." I had never had doubts about being a mezzo. I can be confusing sometimes for other singers, as my range is developing. As older I become, as more as more beauty of my voice I can discover now. It's natural start growing down, lower, deeper and lower, which is great for mezzo. But also, it's been for many years that I can sing so high and compete with sopranos. Do I feel comfortable in that high range? No, I'm not. Can I sing some high roles like for Aida Verdi? Yes, definitely. A lot of Italian composers who wrote for mezzo soprano, because it's a mezzo and soprano. So it already tells that you can sing in the medium range, a little bit low, but also can easily go on the high notes. That's helpful. I do sing some popular soprano arias just for
Okay.
fun, because people like them. Can I sing the whole concert as soprano? No, I'm not gonna feel. I'm gonna feel tired after that. It's just not. I'm not a soprano. There are no doubts about.
And are there any other genres of music that you've decided to use your voice with?
For voice, no, I try to keep myself strict operatic voice.
Strict
As I know a lot of famous opera singers, I have never heard them trying to sing other genres. So as a musician, as a bandura player, as a pianist, I like to play blues and jazz on the piano. I do.
Can you play that on the bandura too? Jazz?
Yes, I can.
Oh, wow.
Any improvisation is easy for me. Again, some composer skills.
Yeah. Did you, for the music track, how heavy was the focus that you had on ear training? Was there a heavy focus on that?
Focused on the music. Sorry.
Ear training? Ear training?
Ear training. Yeah, I can play by ear any type of music. I had a great experience since I grew up in a very religious family. So I was attending a lot of youth camps, and young people in Ukraine like to sing. It's just culture. Every time we meet, we like to sing. So they want someone to play. So I had to train my ear, to play anything by ear. So that was also good practice.
So you're established in LA and you decide to pursue some more bolder initiatives where maybe you're not on center stage, but you're responsible for getting people on center stage. And can you talk about those initiatives?
By the time what you are just trying me to talk about is the establishing global musical bridges and become a producer.
And sponsor piano competitions. And
yes.
So all of these extra.
I cannot say that I became a producer when I started living in the United States. I've been a producer since my life in Ukraine. At age of 24, I was already producing international competitions. I work with the government of Ukraine. We stage a lot of concerts, so I had some experience what it means to be a producer. When I was living in Los Angeles and trying to audition and make my first steps on opera stage, as I told, I was rejected a lot and many times. I still was believing that I have a talent and I know what classical music is about. A few years after, we had a group of singers. There was a tenor, wonderful tenor, and amazing sopranos. So we started a series of concerts called Opera by the Beach. We had like 5 very successful concerts. And then I realized that this group needs some management, someone who can sell tickets, someone who can do advertising. Like a lot of musicians, they are so focused on being better and better, practicing their skills like 8-10 hours a day. So there's no time to learning how to be a producer. So I decided that why don't I try to become a producer? And that time I started performing with the city of West Hollywood. There's a lot of Russian speaking people who already knew me by that time. And city offers me, if I would have a non-profit organization, I will sign a contract to work as a producer for the city. So that was kind of offer. A year after, we got Global Musical Bridges. We start staging concerts, operettas, producing international acclaimed musicians, auditioning them. Yeah, this is actually one of my last production before the pandemic. It was January 2020. Yeah, a couple months before everything got shut down with pandemic. I wrote the scenario. The idea was to do New Year ball masquerade. So I took very, very famous arias from operettas and operas. I wrote my scenario and combined like in a new completely, it came up like a new show, new story, Love Triangle, an
Oh,
enchanted garden.
oh, nice,
Yeah.
nice. Well, it's
So
a
I was a
beautiful.
fairy. I was a fairy with the big wings
Right, right.
behind my back with a big book because I had the key from this enchanted garden and all singers and musicians. There was like a combination of musicians and singers who were dancing, who were singing. It's on our website, globalmusicalbridges.com, and also YouTube, the whole show. Singers who were appearing on the stage, they were kind of like in their dreams, where am I? Oh, what's the garden, and that was the answers were coming out up with the as the plot, the line, the log line was continuing, so people couldn't understand what's happening in that garden. And also hear the most beautiful arias, beloved arias.
Yes, it's a lovely operetta, and it was wonderfully
So
staged.
how I started competitions, we have two competitions. Since I was living in Denver before, and I knew that culturally, I can say Denver and Los Angeles, I always call Los Angeles as a world center of talented people. The competition in Los Angeles is high. If you're looking for talented actors, dancers, artists, musicians, they are everywhere in Los Angeles. Denver is more quiet. So I came for vacation in Denver and talked to my friend, who is also a musician, great musician, and I say, you know what? I have my company. I'm getting more like being sponsored, and I think what I have to do for Denver is establish a competition. She say, "Oh, great idea. I don't know. Maybe it will be a good idea." So in 2018, we established first Songbirds Youth Music International Festival. We just had last fall the third event. It came up wonderful. It attracts more and more kids. It's open festival. It's festival, but also we have winners. But it has criteria a little bit less and easier for all talented kids, like singers, musicians, all type of instruments. They can perform any type of music they like. But later, I think 6 months after, I met a wonderful Russian pianist, Vladimir Khomyakov. Great, great. And I remember him in the beginning of his career um, in Russia and Ukraine. I remember I listened to him, and I met him in Los Angeles. It was a wonderful, wonderful duet because I sang a lot and he played. So together we come up with idea to start international competitions. So this how we started the first year of competition and second, and finally last week we just finished third competition dedicated to Sergei Rachmaninov because we were kind of blessed to have a Russian Orthodox church who support the competition. They built a beautiful stage. Some sponsored bought a piano, especially for the competition before COVID. We had it live. Now we had it online, which opened a lot of opportunities for kids who has no money to travel to United States, but they could compete from Poland, from Europe, from Brazil, Canada. Wonderful. There was just amazing kids. And I'm feeling blessed that beside being a musician, I can create very honest competition. My goal was to have honest competition. Every year we have new judges, judges who are great musicians, and I can also work with them and make sure they're making right decisions that these talented kids deserve what they deserve.
Well, you're so busy. It's just an amazing thing, and we actually have, if you don't mind, fielding a couple questions
Yeah, I
from
see we have
an
questions. Yes.
audience. I'll just read it verbatim. It sounds like you're working 5 different jobs currently, most of them under your own management. How do you manage your time and organize your projects and responsibilities?
Yeah. Do I work a lot? Yes, I do. Beside that, I have other jobs which I have to pay bills. We understand, especially the last year was a challenge year for for many musicians who lost their jobs and had to start other jobs, but not lose that desire to continue be a musician. How do I manage my time? I'm trying. I have my notebook where I'm writing my everyday schedule. Another notebook. I have a plan. Like tomorrow's Sunday. This one point, another point I have to do, and I cross out. If I don't write it down, it's mean I wasted my time. I had a wonderful teacher in Los Angeles I met. It was another story, who was teaching me how to be a CEO of the company, because being a musician and be a director, it's a different things. One of the rule he was giving me all the time: write down what you have to do. That really helps me to be organized and do my 5 different jobs good, keep them up.
And do you
So
cross
that
them
helps.
off? Do you cross
Yeah,
them off as they're done? Yeah.
as they done. If I don't cross them off, it's mean I have to add next day some more. It's mean I adding some more job for another day.
Oh
Do I
no.
give myself time to rest? Of course I do. Do I have time for myself? I have time for myself. That's a discipline. You learning to be a discipline. Like, I can say that a lot of musicians or opera singers can say, like, if you have to learn this 300, 400 pages by memory, how much time you have for that? Only 10 days. You have 10 days to memorize. Unbelievable. This language is like, we don't speak. Don't think that we speak all French and Italian and German. No, we don't. But it's discipline. And this discipline, which came with many years of practicing different instruments and music, yeah, uh, now helps me because it keeps me focused.
And that's a perfect segue into another audience question, which is, what skills do you think trained musicians are missing today when they graduate?
Oh, it's I I've been talking for the last few years as I became a producer. Before I became a producer, I think the one thing would really motivate me to become a businesswoman. We can call it businesswoman. Yeah, I had a few negative experience in Los Angeles in my beginning, especially the first year, because people could see that I don't know area, I don't speak well English, but I have a talent. So it's mean I can perform for everyone for free and whenever they want and anywhere they want. No, it's not. And then they think that musicians are not educated enough to know their rights. Oh, okay, we don't know the law. Yeah, we just know how to read music and how to write music and how to sing. That's it. No, it's not true. The thing what is missing today in an academic education, if I will have a chance one day to meet a minister of education in Ukraine, I will probably write a big, long list of changes and reform in music education. When I graduated, nobody told me how to write my resume. Number one, I was missing these skills: how to introduce myself, how to audition, even to like simple things, how to audition. You have to know how to get prepared for that. How many musicians are missing this? They are missing this. How do they missing even the simple things? How to get dressed, how to get prepared a day before the concert. How many teachers keeping this? It's important. Even your mental health, to keep yourself in a balance, that you feeling healthy, you keep your emotions, you feel confident. About confidence, probably it's another long topic. But the skills about knowing the law, knowing the how your rights. Yeah, a lot of musicians, they have to know their rights, that not be used by people who taking advantage of talented and young musicians. It's important and it's missing.
Well, maybe you'll get to write that. uh, dossier on improvements for educational reform, and they're probably valid in a lot of areas. Hey,
I would
I have to ask you, and well, you can't see it now because we're in a split screen shop, but maybe when you get panned back, there's a trophy up there on your shelf, and my eyes keep being diverted to it, and I was just wondering if there's a story behind it.
Oh, yeah, I do have a lot of trophies. You just see one. there's there's another one. We have
Oh, okay.
another one. I have my medals back from Ukraine, hidden somewhere here. They're medals. Yeah, there's a lot.
Oh,
I
okay.
can talk about many of this, but it's going to be a long story. I won 35 international competitions.
Okay. So hidden around your place are 35 different certificates, medals, honorifics.
Yeah. And it helps me to
Wow.
be a director of 2 international music competitions. I know what it means to get ready for the competition. I know how corrupted some competitions can be. So that helps. I have experience competing in competitions, and it helps me to manage a good, and I hope one day, a very high level and known competitions.
Well, it sounds like the trajectory's moving in the right direction for you on that. So you mentioned COVID. I'm kind of curious what you're working on now uh, and how you survived the last year and tried to keep busy. Can you elaborate on that a
Yeah,
little bit?
yeah, sure. Yeah, we know we talk a lot about this last year, how strange and unpredictable for many musicians. I know some musician. I'm not going to talk about someone else. Let me talk about myself. When March started, and I realized that there are no more concerts and everyone was frustrated. First of all, like concerts were postponing. I had to postpone some of the competitions and concerts, my productions as well. And then by summer, yeah, I think a year ago, it was May, I flew to my friends in Denver because there were no performances, looks like no more in Los Angeles. So I came back to Denver. So where I'm staying for this year already, going back and forth, Los Angeles, Denver, Los Angeles, Denver. I was a little bit feeling down because I had so many plans and some big debuts in Los Angeles, like dreams come true. And then everything was broken. I came here in Denver. Um, I think I have this connection, Denver and Los Angeles. When I'm in Los Angeles, ocean inspiring me to create music. When I'm in Colorado, looking at these beautiful snowing mountains, I just checked not long time ago, all my music scores I wrote, most of them was written when I was visiting Denver.
Oh,
So
interesting.
I decided, since I am not so busy anymore, learning a lot of areas and roles, and I have more time uh, to work with my students. So I start be focused with my students, and I hope they enjoy this year working in music, even online. But thanks God we have this opportunity. So I finally found time to sit down and write my music down. And I have a deadline by the end of this summer. I'm gonna publish my first piano book with my CD. So they will coming
Congratulations.
up, and yeah, CD and my book.
Oh, well, hey, you're finding ways to spend your time in productive pursuits and you have a smile on your face, so it sounds like that's a project you're very, very excited about.
Yeah, I will probably say to all musicians who will watch this show today, if you still feel down and you don't know how soon you will be back to performances, try to find something you like to do and something that makes you happy, and keep going, because the time will come to the end soon, and we will be back eventually, maybe slower than we expecting, but we will be back. I heard a lot of opera companies and Denver Philharmonic just sent me a mail asking if I'm staying in Denver and I will join them. They start doing instrumental concerts, not yet vocal. I think this vocal concert they take a little bit another few months later, but it's coming back. So, and I'm happy. Just last week we posted my first video clip dedicated to Victory Day in Europe. I decided to honor because when I recorded that Russian song, I knew that my grandmother loves it. So I dedicated to my grandmother. She's still alive, and she's a kid. She was 6 years old when there was a wartime. So, and then we came up with a beautiful video story and recorded beautiful video. So I think, this year changed a little bit, but very important, don't lose this, don't lose yourself. Try to find a way to be productive. Not on stage, okay, then not on stage, at home with a pencil, writing music down. Maybe next year competition, I will be happy to give away and, give as a gift for our amazing young talented pianist, my piano songs.
Oh, yes, of course. Uh, so, what are your plans for Global Musical Bridges looking ahead as things start to open?
Yeah, we're working on opening a branch in Colorado. Main office is West Hollywood, Los Angeles. I will be home for Global Musical Bridges. We are planning, I hope by the end of this year, have outdoor concert in Los Angeles. back to concerts. And main target is to grow in a big production company so we can help young and talented, not young, all ages, let's say it, all ages musicians who deserve to be heard. And I hope we will be enough supportive and educated to another musicians.
Well, we've gone over a little time, but I'm very glad that we did because I think everything you said is useful for folks listening, whether to learn about you or to develop coping skills or as a model for inspiration. How can we find out? How can people stay in touch with you? Your social media, please tell us what you would like people to watch or listen to.
Yeah, thank you for asking this question. You can find me, just Google my name, Siuzanna Iglidan, and there's my website, www.iglidan.com, and also my company, www.globalmusicalbridges.com. We are also on Facebook and Instagram. You can send us a message. I will probably advertise now that we have a fourth annual Songbirds Youth Music Festival coming up the first Sunday of October, and we start advertising it soon. We will have wonderful judges from Italy, from Spain, from United States. So if you're young and talented and you want to be heard and promoted, so keep your eye on Global Musical Bridges.
And I encourage everyone to go to Suizanna's YouTube channel and watch that lovely photo still that you saw from the operetta where you're a fairy. I think it's published in its full length on that channel. I was very entertained by the diversity. In one video, you may be playing a piano composition that you wrote. In another video, you may be singing to another accompanist. In another video, you may be singing to your own accompaniment on bandura. And so it's just chock full of really fun stuff. And I hope people go out there, subscribe and like. And well, as a solicitation here, if you've enjoyed this podcast, I hope you would like it and subscribe to the Viva Virtuoso channel too. Anything you'd like to say before we wrap things up, Suizanna?
Yeah, also, if you want to be a supporter, of the competitions, because we're always looking for some donations and cash prizes for our winners. We also have an opportunity to donate to Global Musical Bridges and to support our mission.
And they can learn how to do that at globalmusicalbridges.com.
Yes.
Okay, so I think our audience knows what to do. It's just time to get down and do it. Suizanna, I can't tell you how lovely and wonderful this last hour has been, and to have you be a friend of the shows.
Thank you so much. I really enjoy time talking to you. And if I could encourage someone and give my very happy and positive vibes, I will be happy to support anyone who feels distracted or disrespected as a musician or frustrated with the things going on. I will be happy. Send me email. I will be happy to talk to you.
Well, I won't be surprised if you get some bites on that. And as for that, our show is now a wrap.